Thank you for the, it's working? Okay, thank you for your introduction. Today we're going to talk about application of the artificial intelligence in emergency room and see where we are, where we are going, and it's basically I'm sharing some of the experiences that we have. In the beginning, I just need to tell you that I'm working with 2 AI company, but I do not have and nothing from those companies I'm presenting, so there's no financial disclosure related to this, to this presentation. I want to thank the president of the society for extending me the invitation, and also Professor Zhang for inviting me to Vietnam. This is my first time in Vietnam. This is my second day, first time in Vietnam. So let me start with this. How many of you guys have AI in your radiology department? Okay. So how many of you guys have the AI in your emergency imaging, emergency radiology? Okay. And how many of you guys plan to buy some AI in the next year for your, okay, very good. And how many of you guys really hate AI? Okay, good. Okay, so this lecture is for the group number 1, group number 2, group number 3, and even group number 4. So during this talk, I'm just going to help the group number 4 to hate less AI, because any conferences that I go to, everybody talks about AI, but nobody's using it. It's very interesting. Like 80% of the lectures, for example, Society of Thoracic Radiology, 80% of the lectures had something about AI. Then I just asked, how many people are using AI? There are only 3 or 4 people raised hands. So, so you're not too behind if you're not using it. I'm just going to summarize it very, very quickly. So there's a clinical application I'm going to talk about. Then I'm going to talk about the application of the AI in the workflow. And then there are other applications in quality and also in the administration. It can help with the finances. It can help with a lot of stuff, AI. So this we're just opening the, it's just like a beginning of the AI. As far as the AI in emergency radiology, it is used for image interpretation. It is also can be used for the workflow optimization. This is very important because eventually everything comes down to dollar and cents. You have to make sure that your department is running efficiently. So this also helps with the workflow optimization. Also, it can help you with making a lot of the automatic tasks go smoothly, so that will help with the management, and all of these together, it can help with the quality improvement, which actually these days we are paying a lot of attention to that. So I'm just going to talk about 4 areas that mostly AI is being used for. For the neuro, AI can be used for screening purpose. So, for example, AI can look at all of your cases very quickly in a fraction of a second. Those cases which are abnormal can bring it on the top of your list. So, for example, if a case has a pneumothorax, you don't want to read your pneumothorax case as a case number 35 on your list. You want to read your pneumothorax as your first case on the top of the list. If there are a lot of normal musculoskeletal cases with no fractures, they can go on the bottom of your list. But somebody with like 4 rib fractures, you want that thing come to the top of the list. Somebody with brain bleeding, you don't want to miss a subdural hematoma and read it at the bottom of your list. So AI can actually look at a lot of these and do the pre-screening and bring the abnormal ones, bring it to the top of the list, because these are time sensitive. So that's number 1. Now, number 2, it can quantify the finding. For example, you don't. Some people, they have difficulty saying, okay, I think it's a 30% pneumothorax, and then if I show the exact same case to the same person after maybe a few hours, that person may call it 15% pneumothorax. So this way, actually, AI can actually do the calculation of the pneumothorax and give you exact number, exact same number over and over and over. So it is actually reproducible. So you don't need to measure it. Just can just say, okay, 35% pneumothorax is on the right side. Also, they can generate a preliminary report very, very fast. So in the emergency room, you don't need to write a 5-page report. You just need to write a very concise, straight to the point. And in many cases, we actually write like one line. For example, there's a mid-humeral fracture, oblique fracture, and that's it. You don't need to talk too much about everything else going on. They're not going to read your report anyway. AI can actually help you to generate that one-line report that you want. And you just look at it, you approve it or not approve it. You want to modify it, you can modify it, but it can actually generate that report very quickly. So, and then it can also list all of the non-important findings. You're looking at the abdominal CT, you see liver laceration, you see the blood in the peritoneum, you see all these findings everywhere, bowel trauma and everything. And then and then there's a hemangioma in the liver too. But you don't want to waste time, This can write about degenerative changes in the spine and everything else. All the non-urgent, non-emergency findings, it can also list it for you. So that's going to help you too. And then also, across the board, it's going to give you a very uniform kind of reports. Doesn't matter if I read it, you read it, somebody else reads it. If AI gets in, all of the reports are going to look alike. So that's uniformity is the way to go, especially if you're doing a large scale. For example, this water coming out of the factory, all of them, they look alike. Pretty much they look alike. Now maybe like 1% of the 1%, you may have a little discrepancy. This is supposed to be 355 milliliter. Maybe one of them is with 356 milliliter, but who cares? There's a uniformity. When you go to buy water, you don't check each of these bottles one by one. You know all of them are pretty much the same. You want the same kind of quality come out of your reports. All of them basically have exact same quality, same sensitivity, accuracy, whatever, across the board. Radiologists, they're fresh in the morning, they're tired after 12 hours work, so the quality drops. Some people, they are not very fresh early in the morning, but as soon as they drink the coffee, they become more sensitive. So even within one person, one radiologist, during the day, because based on a million things, the incoming phone calls, amount of the coffee in the blood, amount of food in the stomach, how tired they are, how many phone calls they're getting, the quality changes. AI quality doesn't change. Doesn't matter if it's 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. You're going to get the same quality out of that. So these are very important things that in the emergency room actually important. Anyway, so now let's just go one by one. In the neuro, most of the application are in the neurovascular, in the case of trauma, intracranial hemorrhage, and also accidental findings or incidental findings. Some people may have tumor because and then patient got into accident. Well, we don't know if that was because of the tumor the patient got into accident. So AI can actually help a lot with that. AI can quantify, actually can find them where the ischemia is happening, even on the pre-contrast. The white gray matter differentiation sometimes is hard even for us, even people with experience, to detect it ahead, when there's an infarction, for example, or ischemia going on. And AI can actually do that. Now, Dr. Go, I was listening to his talk. He mentioned something very interesting. I want to emphasize that. So the way that CT works, you have pixel or voxel, whatever, and each voxel or pixel, it has a density and the shade of the gray, and then we do the reconstruction. And then after reconstruction, it makes it easy for us to look at the brain. But in reality, when you go back, they're all numbers and data. AI doesn't need to look at that picture. Well, it can look at that picture, but actually AI can look at that raw data. Very interesting. No images in between. So you get the data, you give it to the AI based on whatever algorithm it has. It can actually use that to make the diagnosis. This is very, very important. That is bypassing the imaging. You get the data acquisition without even producing image. AI can actually do that. There are a few projects going on that in the area of the detection of the ischemia and trauma. I'm sure that you're going to hear more about that in the next year or two. When it comes to intracranial hemorrhage, it's actually very easy. AI can help a lot, can actually quantify it for you, tell you exactly where it is located. One of the biggest problems with radiologists is when they find one intracranial hemorrhage, they forget about the rest of it. They pick up the subdural hematoma, they forget about subarachnoid blood. So the AI can look at all of them, list them all for you. And of course, incidentally, you're going to have a brain tumor. These can also be incorporated into your report in details. When it comes to thoracic imaging, is a trauma imaging, finding the rib fractures. Sometimes it's very difficult. We miss it all the time. So rib fractures can be easily found. Small pneumothoraces, especially in lung apices or in the diaphragmatic recesses, that can be found. AI can find them easily. There's a lot of false positive there too, but still, if you put a red light, you're going to have difficulty finding it on the CT. But if you put a red dot on it, you can go and pay attention and probably tell if this is a real pneumothorax or not. When it comes to cardiac and vascular imaging, it can actually does a very good job for aneurysm and dissections. Can actually quantify it. Even on a non-contrast CT, it can detect dissection. That's very scary. Things that normal radiologists they miss. Because of the way that our eye work, some soft tissue density resolution that we may not be able to see it with our own eyes. AI can actually pick those up, and when you go back, it is there. Because we don't really play with the intensity all the time when we read the cases, especially when you read the cases quickly. So if you're too fast, you're going to miss. AI won't do that. Infection, inflammation, that's another thing in the ER. Faint infiltrates, erythrocytes opacities, usually overlooked by people who are looking for something else like trauma cases. Aspiration is something that we miss a lot, so that's another area. And of course, every patient comes to the ER, that's a screening modality. You should not miss any pulmonary nodules. Everybody look for the fracture and pneumothorax, and then all of a sudden a 5 millimeter or 10 millimeter pulmonary nodule is missed. AI won't let that happen. So it actually helps a lot with the quality of that. When it comes to abdomen, is a trauma, solid, basically organ trauma. It can give you the grading of the major organ laceration. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. It's still overdiagnosed or underdiagnosed laceration, and mix them up with the fissures, because there's a lot of variations when it comes to segmentation of the liver, for example. The peritoneal segmentation of the Conrad segmentation is not always it doesn't go always by book, so AI still have problem with that. Solid organ specific disease can be worked up with the AI. Hollow organ is another area that most of the radiology they don't pay too much attention. Things like duodenal hematoma, things like bowel contusion, mesenteric contusion. Those are things that can be missed, and AI can specifically look for it. And of course, the vascular stuff in the abdomen is another whole area that it can actually very quickly read them. When it comes to musculoskeletal, of course, the trauma, it can many radiologists are so biased. When they see one fracture, they don't look for the second and third one. But the AI can easily pick it up and put an arrow on it or dot on it, so you can it can go to the checkpoint. Very, very important. We are doing a project on child abuse. So when you do the scanogram of the baby, it knows where to look for findings that are child abuse specific. Okay, It has a checklist that goes through and basically specifically look for those areas. It can evaluate arthritis. Many people with joint pain, they come to the ER, and it can do actually staging of that and tell you how bad it is. So instead of giving you that image, it gives you this image, you know where to pay attention to. And it can actually do the very good work comparing the current study with the last study. So it can actually tell you, for example, there's an interval worsening of rheumatoid arthritis or psoriatic arthritis compared to the prior study. And on the MR, for example, you can get one of those images that basically with those yellow and orange spots can tell you pay attention to these areas. For compression fractures, that's something that abdominal images, they miss a lot because they just so obsessed about abdominal organs, and then the spine fracture they can be missed. The AI can actually find the fractures and also give you the comparison. For example, it hasn't changed for the past 6 months, so then that goes down on the list of the priority. But if it's new since prior study, then it brings it up, and that's clinically important. And instantly, all these tumors can be found in musculoskeletal. We always miss lytic lesions in the standing of a trauma. This is horrible. Now you look at the chest X-ray, you find 5 rib fractures, and you miss a clavicular metastasis. But then AI can pay attention to everything, all these little findings. So how am I doing time-wise? How many minutes I have? Anybody? How many more minutes do we have?
Maybe about 5 minutes left.
Perfect. Okay. So workflow application, as I said, it can actually prioritize them. Those abnormal cases can go on the top of your list, and those with really routine or normal can drop it to the bottom of your list. Quality control. Number one is the uniformity of the quality. The example I gave you about the water, so you know the water here is the same water as in your bottle. So because there's a uniformity of the quality. I'm not telling you this water is perfect. It's come from the Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola company, so it can't be that perfect. But you know the quality is the same. It's very important to know where you are as far as the quality. If you are, for example, if you are 80%, 90% accurate, then you have to need to keep it like that. When you, instead of that, your standard deviation, you want to be very narrow. Okay, if you're at 80%, all your studies you want to be between 75 and 85. You don't want you're at 80%. Some of your reports are perfect, but then you have some. But then at the other end of the spectrum, you have like 50 or 60% sensitivity for finding the findings. So uniformity is very, very important. This way, ER understands how much they can rely on our report. So that. Across the board, uniformity of the quality is important. Also, this was a research. I was looking at this a few months ago. They compared the AI with the real doctors. Okay, so really looking at the chest X-ray. This was a little bit scary. The pink one is a physician. And then the purple one is a radiologist. Then you have a thoracic radiologist. I did actually a little better than all of them. That's it's a little bit scary, but at the same time, it's not actually that bad. So you can actually use it. Don't think of AI going to replace you. Think of AI that's going to help you. As long as you are in charge, it's like your car. You don't get jealous about your car because your car can go faster than you. As a matter of fact, you want your car to go faster than you. That's why you buy a car. So it's the same thing here. And I'm going to skip the administration part for the time being. Eventually, everything I told you basically translates into money. You have to save money. If you save money in your system, then your administrator will be happy to buy it. Now, is this going to replace radiology? This is a very interesting thing. So in 2015, Elon Musk said, self-driving cars in 2 years, no more drivers. In 2016, that guy said, radiology will be obsolete in 5 years. In 2024, 2025, you have still radiologists driving regular car to work. So it's not moving that fast, okay? It is still time for radiologists to survive, I think. So, so in the next 5 years, probably AI gonna do much better. But we have to start treating AI as a tool, not as a replacement for radiologists. There's still a lot radiologists can bring into the table. So, so think of this. This is not replacing it. It is there to assist you. Thank you.